Welcome, tourists, to another episode of Tabletop Tour Guides, where we're gobbling up every adventure. I'm one of your hosts, Drew, and with me I've got your other host, John.
Heyo.
And today we are going to be going over what we have claimed to be the S tier game, the game of all games.
Yeah, and I think it's still gonna probably ride into the S tier.
You think
Yeah.
so? We'll have to do that tier list annually at this point. I think that'd be good. We're talking about Infinity the game. The new edition N5 came out. We're going to be going over that today and kind of reviewing, not the whole thing. There's deep dives out there of people who have played this game way more than us. We're going to just do the highlights of stuff that we liked about the new edition and what we've played and seen so far. Before we get into all that, John, what have you been up to lately?
Oh, man. Well, the holidays are finally over, and I just finished packing up the rest of my stuff in the attic for Christmas. Thank goodness. Other than that, I mean, I have been just working on the house, man. I mean, I have so much stuff. It took me forever to get the house back to like some kind of normal state, and it's still not all the way there. My hobby room, I know I've still got it blurred out behind me. I will probably, show it off once I finish the clean out, but we're getting there. We're getting the renovation done.
Just taking some nice time off for the holidays and being busy with all that stuff. Is that really about it?
Yeah.
That's good though. We all need that time. Well, for
What about
myself,
you?
for me, man, I have had some interesting developments of life occur. So starting with, I guess, the simple stuff, holidays were whatever. Didn't really do a lot of holiday stuff. I got to see my sister and my nephews and my brother-in-law.
You say you didn't do a lot of holiday stuff. I know for a fact you went somewhere. I
was just about to say.
Don't skip over that.
So but I didn't have like a family like holiday, right? I didn't do like a let's all go see all the aunts and uncles and grandmas and mom and dad and all that and for the Christmas. I didn't do that. I saw my sister and my brother-in-law and my nephews like the week before Christmas and had a like little lunch with them. And then I went to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I drove to Santa Fe, New Mexico, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I just decided I was going to go. I just got up and drove there. And
bye everybody. Just bam.
Everybody, I kind of just wanted to have some time to myself and relax a little bit. And it was fun. It was actually pretty crazy because I didn't know this, but Santa Fe has like a really, really popular Christmas tourist scene. They have a lot of events going on like all the way up to Christmas Day. And so I got there and it was like, my original plan was to go up like in the mountains and just chill out and camp. But I got there at like 5:00 Christmas Eve and it was so freaking dark. Like I couldn't see anything. And so I was like, well, crap, I'm not going to go drive out into the wilderness, not seeing anything. So I just camped out essentially in town. And I
had a great time.
I had a great time. There's a lot of really cool stuff. They have like this candlelit street ceremony thing where like, it's just all beautiful.
Well, I have to say, that sounds a lot better than mine. I got to deal with like family, little bickerings here and there. And then when it was all over, and I had a second to rest, I was like, cool, I'm sick now. So I spent like 4 days sick.
The family ruckus and then the holiday flus.
Yeah, it's like when your body finally like says, okay, you can relax, and you let down your guard and your whole body just goes to shit.
It's like I'm going to force you to relax by making you sick now. Yeah, that sucks. That does suck. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. I've been playing a lot of Middle-earth, which is really cool. I
saw your miniatures, and if anybody listening has not seen his miniatures for the Rookie Run, go look at them. They are amazing.
ASR Miniature Art, humble plug.
There you go. Yeah,
they are really fun, and the community for that is really fun and growing. Hoping John will eventually show up and play with us, but he's been having the flu and stuff.
I'm not even gonna lie right now. I haven't even built them yet. I mean, they're in the box that's right behind me, and I have been trying to find time.
Well, fair. I have plenty of time now, John, because I'm unemployed. So
yeah. There's another major life event for you.
I also recently got laid off. I don't mind sharing with the world. I'll be back up on my feet soon. I'm not worried about it. But it's gonna be like a little mini vacation. That's kind of how I treat this. I'm in IT, and so people flip-flop around jobs in IT all the time. I'm not stressing it.
So we're gonna see you a lot more on Twitch right now, painting and
That's it.
showing
Yeah.
off miniatures and being like, look at this guy, he's a
There you
full-time Twitch
go.
streamer now.
That's it. Yeah. If it brought in the money, I would definitely do that. I would have no problem. I don't care what I'm doing full time as it pays the bills.
Yeah.
Oh man. But I've also been playing a lot of Infinity N5, which just came out in December.
Okay, yep.
So we're putting this episode out about a month after the edition came out. We did our unboxing for the Sand Trap, Operation Sand Trap. So if you guys watching haven't seen that yet and you're curious about the game and what like a great way to jump in, that is a really good box set. It was one of the first box sets I think we rated as S tier.
Yeah, I mean, it had
not to spoil the episode too much.
It has its own tier, guys. It's not maybe S, but it could be.
But it could be. It could be. It's one of the best boxes we've unboxed in the channel so far.
That's fair. So let's get a little bit into this Infinity, for anybody who's listening doesn't know anything about it. So this is, besides Warcrow, Corvus Belli's other, love child that they've made, I would say. It is just a tabletop miniature game, usually played about, I'd say roughly about 10 to 15 models, for
it's
a whole fire team. Whole army squad,
Yeah, because it's like 15 model max for both players.
Right.
So yeah, 10 to 15s are really good.
What makes this game unique and so much fun is, besides it has a lengthy amount of rules, but it is played with D20s.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that I really love about this game and why it's one of my favorites. Is
pretty rare.
Yeah, it has this really, I would say it's kind of lengthy, but once you understand it, it is very thought out combat system with reactions and fighting back and taking turns. So normally
it's a very tactically rewarding game. It's in depth, but it's rewarding.
And don't ever think, if you ever start looking into it, one thing's going to solve all, because things die quickly, but it is a short game played in like 3 rounds normally.
A turn for each player.
Yeah. And you get orders that you draw with a lieutenant that's usually, defined, but we'll get into the weeds of that.
Yeah, the weeds of what it is.
That's a lot of that, but yeah, that's basically it. And it is one of our S tier games because again, it plays beautifully, it plays fast, and once you get all the rules down of like what is I'm trying to think of something, berserker, or what is
martial art,
martial arts, or natural warrior, or anything like that. You start, once that all gets in there, it's played smoothly.
Yeah, because it's got a universal rule set and our universal keyword set. And so like, unlike other games where like if I have martial arts on my ninja and John has martial arts on his knight, his space knight, they mean the same thing.
Right.
It's not like other game systems where my whole army has a completely special set of rules that are only specific to it. And so if you've never played against my army before, you don't know what's going on. It's not like that. You can play against somebody else's army and go, oh, I have that rule that guy's going to do this kind of stuff in the game. Or I have that kind of gun. That gun is a sniper rifle. That's just like my sniper rifle. And you're not having to like learn a bunch of stuff on the fly about your opponent's army. What they do is the universal keyword system is everybody has all the same keywords available, just in different quantities.
Yeah, and I'd say like another good thing to note is I don't remember how many factions are now. JSA was just added.
There's 9.
There's 9, I think, is right.
Yeah.
And each one of them has their own little like subsectorial inside of there. So each one plays differently. You're not going to pick one army. Like I play Pano and he's playing oh my god,
JSA.
JSA. But you also have a second army.
Combined army,
thank you. And they play way differently than my Pano. And
right.
But yes, having the universal rules does make it really nice.
And the other big pro or like quirk or trick or theme of the game is like the tagline for the game is "It's always your turn." And what they mean by that is like they have this mechanic in the game called an ARO, an automatic reaction order. And even though it might be my turn, if my ninja walks through an alleyway and John's night sniper can see the ninja, it gets a chance to shoot it. And so I'm doing all my stuff, but John gets to interact with me while I'm doing my turn. So you're not sitting there watching me play out my whole turn on playing on your phone and rolling some dice whenever you need to make a save. No, you're not doing that. You're just as engaged on my turn as I am, which is so cool.
Yes, and it makes positioning something that you must always be aware of whenever you start doing the setup of the game and who your opponent is and what they're kind of playing.
But once you,
like I said, once you get that, it is awesome and fast. I mean, I think what takes maybe 2 hours,
2.5 hours probably. I think for for like a casual, like we're just playing at the shop kind of game. But I think tournaments are 2 hours. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, it's an awesome game. That's one of my favorite things about the game too, is it is quick. You'll hear that being like, I think a repeating theme on the channel is that we like games that like I would rather play 2 games in a day than one game, because it doesn't take 4 hours or whatever. So one other little tidbit about Corvus Belli is that Infinity came out in 2005. So it's been around for 20 years now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild because it's only within the last like 10 years that it's gotten to be a popular game. And it's only growing in popularity. I see more and more YouTubers and streamers sharing like new kits and stuff by Corvus Belli all the time now. Where like 10 years ago, nobody really even knew what it was. Very niche. So I'm excited to see the growth. But that's really, I mean, a cyberpunk sci-fi skirmish game that plays like Ghost in the Shell is kind of what Infinity is.
So if you had to sum it up, let's say we're going to sum this all up. What was the most excited, like what one did you want to get into Infinity in the first place? Was it sci-fi?
It was better than Malifaux.
It was better than Malifaux. Dang. Here we go, guys. 2025. First Malifaux joke. Maybe, I think.
That's so true, I think. I think that's so true. So no, so dang, we really started early now. Not even the heart to John. So what got me excited? Oh, it's funny because it actually was because I didn't like Malifaux.
Okay, that's fair.
There's actually a story here. So I started playing Infinity during N3, which that's what they call their editions, is N and then a number. We're on N5, so we're on the 5th edition. That's the newest edition. I started playing in N3 because I was like 16 and I had been playing a ton of Magic the Gathering. But I grew up playing Warhammer 40,000 and fantasy battles.
Right.
And I kind of missed playing miniatures games because Magic cards, you don't really feel like you own them, right? Like this isn't really mine. Yeah. It's just, I'm using a game piece and whatever.
In 5 months, it becomes obsolete. Got it. Yep.
Sure. You can make that argument about minis too, for the record.
We'll see. So, I think I could win that argument.
It's not as bad, but so I missed painting the minis. I missed the lore, the story, the investment of the hobby, and so I started playing Malifaux, and I played Malifaux 2e. I still think that's the best version of the game we've had. Malifaux 2nd Edition was so good.
Never played it, sadly.
I know it. It was so good. I played it like crazy, and a local guy, Josh Farmer, who also split the box with John, which is so funny. Josh is you can't talk about Infinity without talking about Josh, because Josh is he is one of the maybe 3 core founders of Infinity in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It was him, a guy named Tim, another guy named Ryan, and I would think Casey. All were like the core foundational members. And they were playing this just fun skirmish sci-fi game, Infinity. Mm-hmm. And Josh Farmer also played Malifaux with me. So him and I played a ton of Malifaux together. And then one day I was like, man, I kind of miss sci-fi. I was like, Malifaux is really not scratching the itch I want.
Right.
And I don't want to buy into 40K again. I don't want to buy I was 16. I don't
you didn't want to have to spend all your money on the 40K and build that army.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, let me show you this game called Infinity. And then I was hooked. I played Infinity religiously for 4 years or something like that. A long time. And I mean, it was the only game that existed to me. And so that was, to me, I wanted an affordable. So to answer the initial question here, because I'm ranting at this point.
No,
my
no, go
bad.
ahead and rant. You're good.
The initial question was like, what made me excited about it? It was the fact that it was a quick, affordable sci-fi game. Like, and
That's fair.
it still is that.
That's
So,
fair.
John, what made you excited about getting into
Okay.
Infinity?
So, the community was growing and we were trying out Kill Team at the time. And Kill Team was this whole concept of your people are going to die quick. And I wasn't huge on that, and I wasn't really huge on how that played. And we kept trying it out. I kept on having Dave and, in the community trying to get me into it. And I was like, no, it's just really not for me. It's fast-paced, which I like, and it has all this other stuff, but the rules and stuff just weren't there for me. So when we got to Infinity, I was like, okay, things still can die really quickly, but there's AROs to help you counteract some of that. There's
You have a
definitely
chance.
you have a chance. There's dodging. It started becoming more in depth. You had this simplistic game, which I love Kill Team. We had that tournament. That tournament helped turn me around in it.
Yeah.
The new edition kind of helped here and there. But if I still had to make a choice, Infinity's where it's going to be at, because you can't beat this game that has all these rules that once you get it down, you're like, okay, strategically, am I going to dodge? What am I going to do here? Should I bring this camo stuff? What's going to happen? How am I going to deal with, smoke and all this other stuff? Like, it becomes this expansive game, and I love little intricate things like that.
Yeah,
so,
you like Malifaux, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and I love Malifaux because of the same thing. I love the aspect of, I'm a huge Arcanist fan of that, so when I draw cards and I do card manipulation, I love that. Also, when I played Magic, I was a blue player, and people are, it's all manipulation stuff.
Hey guys, that's the end of the podcast. John's I can't do this on my own, and we don't have anybody else to do it with me now. So
that's really what got it to me, and then of course the D20 aspect is always great because I was a D&D person.
Yeah,
and so looking at all my dice have betrayed me, I'm like, you can make a redemption. You die
because you want to roll low in this game.
Yes.
So like your bad D&D dice are great Infinity dice. Yes. Oh man, yeah, that's fair.
You shall not burn
really
today,
cool,
dice.
That's a really cool, like, kind of like Cinderella story almost. Like, I was this hidden gem of sci-fi skirmish games, and you kind of like stumbled upon it just because we were sparking it back up. I don't know if you would call that a Cinderella story. I may not be using the right.
This fit just right on my foot. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect fit.
This game just fit just right.
You couldn't remember me by my face, but my foot. Yes.
Oh boy. Oh, John, we don't want to get canceled here. Calm down. But no, like Kill Team, you were talking about it earlier. I also got turned around on Kill Team because of that tournament. That tournament was very fun.
Oh yeah.
But Kill Team feels like a game to play when you want to break from 40K, or you want to play a quicker game of 40K almost. And I think I would really enjoy doing Kill Team at tournament settings because the tournaments are so quick and it's very fun. It's very fast paced. But I can't see myself doing Kill Team as like, this is the only game I play, because it's very limiting on tactics and list building. And Infinity busts that wide open.
Yeah.
Tons of list building, tons of tactics, tons of rules.
I mean, just think of it like this. In Infinity, you have the ability to be like, hey, I can bring a tray of people. You don't know what they are. And then at some point, I will put some models down sometimes. And so you can turn around while I take a picture real quick. So you don't know where they are.
Yeah, hidden deployments. Yes.
So,
oh man. So, oh my gosh. I feel like we kind of have to, I think we kind of need to lay out some more like foundational rules of Infinity before we get too far into this, because we're just like riffing off stuff here. So like,
I mean,
things you can do in Infinity that are very different from other games. There's the arrow mechanic we mentioned already.
Yep.
There's the hidden deployment mechanic John was just talking about, which is like you have models like ninjas that are hiding on the table. So you like to ask your opponent to leave or turn around, put them on the table somewhere, and either write it down or take a photo with your phone and then pull them off the table. It's also a 2-list system. So when you go to a tournament, you pick one of your 2 lists to play every round, and the only thing you know about your opponent is what their faction is. Yep. And so it's like, okay, I'm building a list for these missions. I'm building a list for these missions. And you kind of just can cater your list to certain stuff. It's also very quick paced. It's like a 2.5 hour long game with 15-ish models per side. There's like crazy samurai knights, sci-fi fighting. There's hacking, which is like you can like fry people's brains through walls. Like,
well, don't forget,
crazy.
like you can have one model, like you'll generate orders by how many models you have. You can have 1 or 2 models take all those orders and not use any of your other models for the turn, and have those powerful ones go up and be your damage dealers while your others are still just holding the line.
Hold the line, be arrow pieces. Yeah,
another
it's a cool
thing
ass
I really
game.
like is the prone, and we will talk about some of the changes that happened to prone for N5.
What happened to prone? Holy shit! I don't know what happened to prone.
Well, I'm pretty sure this is a change, or if it isn't, it's something I didn't know, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the changes I saw highlighted.
I better pull the rule book up.
If it isn't, I'm crazy, and I didn't know this was a thing.
Oh man, because if that's
it might have just gotten FAQ'd or put into the rule book, because I was like looking at this, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I couldn't do this before. But we'll get into that. Don't worry.
Find out.
You can tell me I'm totally wrong too.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I've got the rule book up just in case. But,
okay.
Well, yeah, you're good.
All right.
Okay. So, John, what are the changes that we've seen?
Well, let's talk about this change then.
What are the changes? What are the changes? What are the things that you thought were significant? We're not going to go every change because, again, there are channels out there that like they will go through the whole rule book with you guys. We love y'all, but we're not going to.
Right, we're not smart enough. That's crazy. Yeah. So this is a change, and I kind of want to play with it a little bit more and use it with Pano. But I understood that you could go prone at the beginning or the end of your movement now. And at first, I thought it was always the beginning of your movement. You had to stay if you were prone.
I'm gonna look right now because I thought it was.
This was something that was highlighted.
Trooper may enter or leave the prone state at either the start of their movement or the end of their movement at no cost. Oh, wow. That's cool. That is a cool change.
Right. So this is something like for me, as I get closer, I would love to be able to cinematically in my head, is one thing, but get close, jump downwards, try to duck my head and get to the objective and just crawl to it.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. So, yeah. And that actually does mean something. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the prone change, I didn't know that one. That's a really cool one.
So that's one thing I thought was pretty cool to change. I'll list 2, and then you can list a couple, and we'll see where we matched up. Yeah. This one's huge for me. MSV3.
Okay.
Can fire at camo.
Yes.
Without having to have them discovered. This is so huge.
Good. So what is MSV3, John?
Multi-spectral visor 3.
Okay, right, but it's a piece of equipment.
It's a piece of equipment
a model can have.
A model can have, and not many of them have 3.
I think there's like 4 or 5 in the game.
Yeah, usually your CLO trees are just 1 or 2, but if you do have MSV3, the idea is like they're able to see people that normally your other units will not. And one of the big things is the camo.
Yeah,
it's just a little silhouette to represent your character. They'll sit out somewhere, and you're like, "Hey, you can't shoot me until you discover me," and it's like, crap. That's pretty bad for me. And discovery is usually like 8 inches away. So now I have to march my butt up, hope I don't get ARO'd, and I'm in trouble. Now, my sniper now has MSV3, and I see a camo person. I get to just be like, you better hide a little bit better.
What sniper do you have?
No, the sniper doesn't have it. But
okay,
you know what I'm saying? Dang. If I do have a sniper.
I was like, all right.
I haven't looked at the new profiles yet, so I don't know if anything's changed.
So so to help explain a little more is like, so camo markers, that's something else we didn't talk about in like the foundations of the game is like you can have guys on the table that are just a marker. Your opponent doesn't know what they are. And typically they're a camo marker. And so like John said, they're just the silhouette of whatever a basic trooper would be. But you don't know, something's there, but you don't know what it is. And before, MSV3 just didn't take the penalties for shooting at things with mimetism or camo. But it still had to discover those markers. Now it can just shoot them at their modified penalty. And it's like, that is just gross, man.
So just looking it up real quick, for me, like the Aquila Guard has MSV3.
Yep.
With a heavy machine gun. Perfect. Sounds great.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think it's like, I'm double checking, but Multispectral Visor 3 is you can shoot at a camo marker, but you still take the penalty from their mimetism while they're in a camo state. So I'm reading it right now. Let's see. Visibility zones are 0. In addition, it can any skills that require line of fire. Troopers equipped with this piece of equipment do not make face-to-face rolls against weapons that use smoke. When performing a discover, they automatically discover, which that's what they used to do. They ignore surprise attack if they have line of fire. They also ignore surprise attack to CC even if they don't have line of fire. And they may perform an attack on a camouflage marker without making a discover roll, but they must apply the mimetism mod indicated by the marker. So performing this attack does not reveal the target before the rest of the army.
So there's the bad part.
But before you couldn't do it at all.
Before you couldn't do it at all, and I'm Pano.
Is if a camo marker takes a armor save, it's revealed.
Right. So now it's one person pings them to reveal them, other person finishes them off.
Right. So it's just like, okay, as long as I get a hit on you, you're going to be revealed, which is like I'm looking at my Chiron Tit, BS 14. I'm going to probably be in good range. So I'm going to go to 17s, and then I'm going to go down to 11 if you're like a TO camo, like Mimetism 6. I need an 11 on 4 dice. I should hit you at least once.
Hey guys, roll low is what you want.
Oh, that's true. So so the mechanics,
saying that, but
the attributes in the game are like, so if your ballistic skill is 12, when you're attacking somebody, you want to equal or lower your number. So higher stats are better. So if I had a ballistic skill 18, I would need to roll an 18 or lower to score a hit.
Right, and guns have ranges, to determine whether they're add or subtracting a neutral.
Right, like your shotgun can't shoot 24. It can technically shoot like 24 inches, but if it's past like 8 inches, it's getting like a -6 to shoot. So
right,
you might be a ballistic skill 12, but because you're shooting your shotgun across the board, it's now your ballistic skill 6.
Right. So good luck actually getting them.
Right. Okay. Those are really cool ones.
Those are mine too. Yeah.
I like both of those. I didn't know about the prone one. The MSV3 one is so cool to me though, because I've been playing the Chiron Tid in my combined army. Also, I hope I'm saying that name right. I can't wait to hear the comments that are like, "Oh, he's just saying the name wrong," and the people are just like
everybody
freaking
just throws
out.
The pronunciation, please.
It's like it's Chiron-tid or Chiron-tid. It's like CHARONTID, and I'm like, that sounds like Chiron, like Chiron-tid.
That's fair.
So I don't
you know what they'll never hear me say again? Varuna.
Varuna.
Gone.
Rip. The boys are
gone.
All
my camo boys and all my fun.
That was one of my favorite sectorials for Pano for sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I've got 2. Since you did 2,
you go ahead.
2 because they're kind of tied together.
Sure.
So it's very fitting then. So for me, it was the close combat changes. And what I mean by that is like close combat and martial arts changes were close combat used to, let's say I had a close combat stat of a 23. Right. You might be asking yourself, viewers, how did you roll a 23 on a 20-sided dice?
Right.
Well, before, anything you rolled, anything you had over 20 added to your die roll. So you would crit on a 20, but you also would add, if I was CC 23, I would add 3 to my dice roll. So if I rolled a 17, it became a 20, which is also a crit. So that was kind of weird because nothing else in the game subtracted or added to a roll after it was rolled. Like that was kind of weird. So they took that away. Now what it is you don't add your stat anymore to the roll. That doesn't exist anymore. Whatever you rolled on the dice is what you get. But a 20 crits, and then any number you have over, starting at a 1, crits as well. So if I had a CC 25 guy, I crit on a 20, and I also crit on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. And this is, to me, this is always something that should have been there, because in my head, it screwed with me so much more to go from 20 backwards than just to start back at 1 and count back up.
Right, starting back at 1. Yes, exactly. And and it kind of goes against the whole roll low thing. And
right.
So,
and it's like, okay,
adding and subtracting the dice after they've already been rolled also feels very weird because you're supposed to like come up with all of your stats before you roll the dice. Like all your modifiers are supposed to be applied before your dice roll. So it was weird that we had one that was added after. Like it was just kind of weird. So that's the change there, is there's no more like adding to the dice, which is huge. It feels cleaner. And the other one was, I'm going to tie this into CC, but it is for the whole game. Possibility of survival is a change that has come into the game. So there used to be damage stats for weapons, and now it is possibility of survival. So before, in the previous edition, a combi rifle, which is the most common gun in the game, was damage 13. You would try to roll a d20 and equal or beat that number, adding your armor stat.
And again, this is where you have to think differently. This is not trying to roll below it. You are beating it to go above it.
Right.
You're rolling low to hit, above to save.
Felt so weird because like that was it was so weird for new players because it was like I'm trying to roll low on my attack and my dodge, but I'm trying to roll high for my saves. Like it just felt very clunky. So they've changed damage to this new stat called PS, which stands for possibility of survival. And it's essentially just the same thing, but they've inverted it to where you roll low now. So like a combi rifle is possibility of survival 7. So you want to roll a 7 or less on your saving throw, not a 13 or higher. Statistically, it's the same math, but it feels cleaner and it's easier to understand for new people. And you add your armor to it still. So if I'm armor 5, that 7 goes to a 12. I need to roll a 12 or less
to stay alive.
To stay alive. And so it just feels way cleaner. And the reason I was going to tie this into close combat is because it's the one thing that doesn't feel as smooth for close combat. Because close combat's damage used to be their physical stat. You can't use that anymore because if I'm physical 14, that's actually a really bad possible survival 14 is really good for your opponent.
I'm just gonna survive. Good luck killing me with your hands.
So now all the close combat weapons have their own possibility of survival stat. So even though I might have had a guy that was like PH 15, he may not actually hit as hard as he used to because he might have like a double action close combat weapon, which is just built-in possibility of survival X.
I'm assuming like that's what they're gonna do is they're each stat for somebody who their physical trait, they'll just be like all your close combat plus whatever. I haven't looked into that enough.
So some of them have gotten a special treatment. Like I use Dotarazi's, their physical 14, their possibility of survival. Like so they have a double action close combat weapon, which I think is possibility of survival 6 or 8, something like that. I think it's 8. I think it's 8. But they have a special rule that says close combat weapons possibility of survival equals 4, which just overrides then. So their possibility of survival now is a 4 or less on a double action close combat weapon, which is like a damage 16 before. It's really, really good. Yeah. You need to roll a 4 or under. I just put in a frame of reference here. I played 2 games today against JSA and military orders, and I had a Dotarazi kill 2 heavy infantry martial arts guys and against the JSA guy, and I had a Dotarazi kill Joan of Arc. So
okay,
they did some work.
Wow,
they were whap. I killed 6 wounds worth of guys with like 1 dude. So
that's insane.
Yeah, they're just wailing on people, and they're 14 points. I love Dotarazis.
Well, that. Hey.
So overall, I think those are both changes that like they've taken time to get used to, but they feel better.
Yeah, I think for new players or even experienced players, I think it's going to make it so much smoother to do all the close combat and the possibility of survival. And I kind of like the possibility of survival because it's so much easier to change and kind of manage that than changing stats on people and being like, hey, I got to change all these stats for these people.
Yeah. I think it is. It's a cleaner rule for sure.
Right. So
what else you got, John?
So these next 2, one of them, I kind of learned about recently, and it is Dr. Reroll X.
Oh,
minus
Dr.
X.
Reroll X. Well, I don't know this one.
So some stats on some infantry now have Dr. parentheses reroll negative X, where it is when you fail to roll with that skill, you can reroll it with that negative modifier of what the X is.
Whoa, that is so cool. Okay.
So whenever you're trying to heal somebody or bring somebody back, you might have the ability to try twice, which is very awesome. I don't know if Dr. Worm got this though. This is a good question
because I've played Dr. Worm multiple times now, but I'm pretty sure you can. I'm double checking it now, so don't mind me. But I want to say you can spend command points to re-roll doctor rolls.
Yes, you're right. You can. It's just this is just like a free one that's built in, and I don't know what the
Yeah.
negative X would be. I'd probably assume like -3, but still having that ability to try to bring somebody back or heal somebody with a reroll is amazing. I mean,
Yeah, that's awesome. The fact that it's just free,
yeah,
like, because I could, you know, what's crazy is I see that being used more on, like people that they don't necessarily care about spending the command point for, but they would still like a reroll on, right? Like, I feel like that's kind of where that comes up. And then on top of that, you also have the like, what if you're out of command points? You still
right.
have another chance to
Chance to
do
do
that.
something. You
Yeah.
know, I heard that something changed about the command points, and I didn't read about it enough, but it's like you can't remove 2 from an order pool unless there's 10 in that order pool.
So okay, so what it is, I'm gonna butcher this, guys. So please, yeah, okay. The doctor reroll and the engineer reroll did stay. Forgive me, guys. I might not be getting this rule exactly, because it's kind of a weird, finicky kind of rule. There used to be an extra, which is like a special rule they would add to like a season.
Mhm.
Um, it was just kind of a fun thing. Not a lot of like competitive tournaments used them, but there was an extra they had called Limited Excursion, where everybody could only play 10 model list, but you couldn't strip orders in those events. You couldn't spend a
Okay.
command point to get rid of 2 orders at the start of the game if you were the defender. They've now just put that in the rules.
Okay,
So,
that's
because
interesting.
a lot of people really liked that, they were like, well, I I don't I don't think it's fair that if I bring a 10-man list, I can only get 8 orders. Like, that kind of
Right.
sucks. And so what it is now is that you if you have 10 orders, not counting like, or sorry, counting tactical awareness,
Okay.
so you can't run like a 10 model list with
Which
every guy having tac aware.
key thing to note is tactical awareness is no longer a regular order, it's its own tactical order,
Right,
you know? But
right.
I
Which
don't
it
know what all that affects in the rules, but
doesn't change much.
well, does that change you being able to use a command point to change it from an irregular order to a regular order?
So I don't believe you could do that before,
Okay.
anyways. But
Never
yeah,
tried, but I
so
was
it does have its own official order now in this edition, like its own token. But like you can't for the stripping orders thing, if I have 10 orders and only 10 orders, not counting like, so if I had 10 orders, but I also had like 5 tactical awareness orders,
mm,
you can still strip orders from me.
but if
But
you
if
had
I have
exactly 10.
10, not counting like impetuous or lieutenant orders, you cannot. Oh yeah, here we go. So all right, I'm looking at it right now. Good, I'm glad I found it. Woof. Okay, so we
I didn't
just
mean to
stumbled
bring
on
this
this
up.
one.
I was just when
No,
we started
no,
talking about command points, I was like, I
you're
read something.
you're good. No, this is good to talk about. This is good to talk about. So okay, the player who has second turn may make strategic use of their command tokens during
Mm,
the tactical phase of their opponent's first turn to perform one of the following actions. And I'm not going to read them all. I'm just going to read the one that matters. Remove 2 regular orders for this turn from their opponent's order pool. That player may choose which combat groups they correspond to. This option may only be performed during the opponent's tactical phase, right after the order count. The player may only remove orders from army lists that have more than 10 orders. And
okay.
so what it means is, and it says in parentheses, regular plus irregular plus tactical. So if I had
Gotcha.
10 models and one of those, so if I have 10 orders and one of those guys has tac aware, so I have 10 orders, regular orders,
Plus
and one
one.
tac aware order, you can strip orders from me. It's actually like not in your best interest to have that guy then.
Right, right.
But
That's fair.
impetuous orders don't count and lieutenant orders don't count. So if you had like a lieutenant plus 2 orders, like a lieutenant 2 guy,
Yeah.
you could have a 12 order group,
List and
but it doesn't get it can't have orders taken away.
all right. All right. Sorry, let's get back on track a little bit.
Hey,
Sorry,
I
I took
love
us
this
off.
though
Yeah.
because it's like we're still learning it, and that's what's so cool about this game is like we play like once a week maybe if we get a
Yeah.
chance to, right? Like I've been trying my best to play once a week, and especially since I knew we were going to do this episode. But there's so many cool, crazy shenanigans that have changed, and I think they're for the better. Like I love that rule exists.
Yeah.
So I think it's
No.
cool to show that like we're learning this too. Like we're not perfect. We aren't pros. Like it's and all of this stuff we've been looking up live, which just goes to show like Infinity has a really robust army builder that's free that you can look stuff up super quick and easy and build your list with. It has a play mode, so you can like actually play your list and keep track of who's dead and stuff.
Yeah, that is huge.
They're adding pictures to the army builder now too.
I know.
So yeah, so if you don't know what the heck this unit is, you can click a picture and it shows you.
New players, you don't understand, okay? You just don't understand. I got into and in 3 models, and I was like, what are you?
What are these models? Yeah, you just don't know. And then the other one is they're also that hasn't happened yet. They're still working on it because the edition did just drop. But they have a wiki that has like the army builder has hyperlinks on every single rule. You can just click the rule and it takes you to the wiki with the actual full rule, so you know what it does live in a game.
And that is, I mean, that is, like,
huge.
I use that huge, like, every time. Like, learning this game, it was amazing to have that.
It was everything.
Rules and everything, free, guys.
Yeah, everything we just talked about, I've been fact checking us, looking at the rule book on PDF as we've been doing this episode.
All right.
The other cool thing, real quick, I just saw this today. Somebody bought the Beyond Sand Trap box today, and they were complaining about, and justly so, because they were like, the box doesn't even tell me what the units are. It doesn't say it anywhere in the box.
That's true.
Like what the units are that you got in the box. You just are supposed to know. Or like go to their website. And I didn't know this, but Chris Johnson was up there, and he's like, oh, there's a QR code on the box. And if you scan the QR code, it pulls up. It doesn't take you to a website or anything. It pulls up immediately on your phone a scroll of every unit in the box and what they are.
Okay, that's awesome. I did not know that.
So cool.
Okay.
So
that
cool.
is cool.
That is so cool. And it's like because you know like Facebook Messenger bubbles are like a second layer on your screen. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Where, like, those overlayer stuff. It opens one of those up, and it's like, bloop, here's all the units. Scroll down, and you can just see what every single one of them is in the box.
Wow,
it's so cool.
I did not even know that.
Yeah, I didn't know either. That's some like future next level shit. Like, GW, where are you at with this? Where's your army builder? That's amazing. Where's your live hyperlink wiki? Where's your QR codes on your boxes?
The army lister is called Battle Scribe or something else that's managed by some third party.
Not GW, yeah.
Not GW, yeah.
So
they've tried multiple times, trust me.
I mean, honestly, to be fair, give them credit. The Kill Team one's awesome.
Yes, the Kill Team one is good.
The current 40K one's not that bad. It's just paywalled, which sucks.
Which does suck, yeah.
So,
I mean, it kind of sucks, yeah.
All right, what were your two even?
My second one. Well, my first one was the Doctor.
Okay.
Second one.
That's right.
Second one's huge for me because I played a lot against Endar. Oh my gosh. Why am I've been reading some books, and for some reason I didn't
know you knew how to read.
Yeah, trust me. Some of my wife's favorite books, so Darna? No, that's the book. What was it that Kyle played? Help me out here.
Ariadna.
Oh my goodness, guys.
What is happening right now? John's having a stroke.
Shock ammunition was a huge thing for me whenever I was playing against him, and knowing that shock no longer will affect troopers with vitality 2+ to take you directly to the dead state is huge to me. Right? Am I crazy about that?
I think that was just also in the last edition.
No, it wasn't really.
I'm pretty
we played that wrong then.
I know you can't just like drop a. No, I'm pretty sure that was in the last edition as well.
Really?
Yeah. So were you having like 2 wound guys? I love this. This is the people listening to this episode. You don't understand
that's gonna be bad for me. Yeah,
this is still.
It was just one guy. He would always have one guy, and he'd come by and just destroy me. And I'm like, what's
so? So did you have like a guy with 2 wounds take a wound and then just die off the board?
No, not just die off the board.
Okay,
but
yeah, I'm pretty sure you. If I remember right, maybe I'm remembering wrong.
The whole thing about shock ammunition is if you go to unconscious, you go straight to death.
Don't get an unconscious state. Right. Yeah, 2 wound models. I want to say have always been immune to that.
Okay, see, that's apparently what we've been playing wrong. Because
I remember
we've always said that they would just go straight to dead.
I remember that for sure was the case in N3. So maybe I don't remember. Maybe I didn't play enough of N4 there at the end because we only started playing N4 in August. So maybe I'm wrong about that. They took it out and they just added it back
I didn't
in.
play against enough people who had shock ammunition except Kyle's group.
Yeah, Ariadne has a lot of shock. Yeah.
So I didn't worry about it, but
okay.
Yeah, we might have played that wrong. Okay, fine. Let me give
I'm glad
give one of my other ones then.
Forgive me. Just don't do special dice.
If this is not new, I'm going to be really pissed.
Oh boy.
Electromagnetic ammunition.
That's
now
not
affects
new.
vehicles.
Well, there's never been vehicles in the game, so that definitely is new.
That's what I'm saying. If it's not new, I'm doing something wrong.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah.
No, I'm just messing with it. Yeah, it was added to the list. It was now heavy infantry tags, rims, and vehicles.
And vehicles, I don't think we have seen yet. We've seen, I think, a model and some concept arts, and they're technically, I think they have rules, but like I haven't seen anybody play them yet. And what they mean by vehicles, just for anybody who's like not ever played this game, it's like motorbikes and stuff, and like little hovercraft, and like drones. It's not tanks and Humvees and.
Well, some people have motorbikes, but I guess they're not classified as vehicles.
Like, I don't think they are.
I know Kyle has one person that's on like a motorbike.
Yeah, there's a lot of motorcycles in the game, but I don't think they're considered a vehicle. To be fair, they're not considered a vehicle in Warhammer either.
Yeah, fair enough.
Throwing that out there. Don't at me, bro. Okay, I'm literally looking at it right now. Motorcycles are not a vehicle. It's
okay, fair enough.
Yep.
So vehicles is a huge thing for me. I think vehicles are going to be huge coming out for N5.
Yeah,
I think having the ability to mobilize them is going to be huge. So this is going to be a huge change. That
yeah, get to throw a freaking EM grenade, like an EMP,
right,
at somebody's like hovercraft as they're flying by. That's huge. Yeah, that's awesome. What, man? Okay, there is a vehicle. It's the Fire Bat Attack Wing. That's the one in 012 that's out right now.
Okay.
And it's 8-2 movement. It has the skill Aerial. What does Aerial do? Because we're basically turning yours into vehicles, for the record. Your pick. Because like the EM grenades are impacting vehicles. Obviously that's true.
Mean, go figure if they weren't. Like, why was if they were like, oh, vehicles just aren't,
Yeah, it would be kind of annoying.
Like had something that prevented them from being affected by EM.
This thing is crazy looking. It's got super jump 8, so just jumps 8 inches, which it's 8-2 movement. It has mimetism 6. It's just like flying around, 2 structure, zooming around. It has the skill Aerial. It cannot be prone, cannot be engaged. That's big. While the skill is active, it is never in still contact with other models, objective sceneries, if physically touching it. So it's not okay. So it's never considered touching anything. Okay. And they cannot declare cautious moves. Okay, cool.
Fair enough.
Just the guard. Oh, and the guard special skill can't work against them. Okay. Vehicles are going to be interesting. I think that's it's a new thing that happened to N5. I love that.
I really thought, honestly, a lot of the motorcycles were going to turn into vehicles too.
Which I'm glad it didn't, because that would hose some factions, to be honest with you. Like JSA has a whole like sub theme of motorcycles.
Yeah, I know, and it'd be kind of cool to throw an electromagnetic and it actually affect that engine.
Immobilize. Kid, Brave John's just hateful. Oh my gosh. Well, whatever, sir. I'm glad that you're not going to get what you want.
I have a few more, but you go ahead and do your next two.
Oh, okay. I don't mean to interrupt you, sir.
Yeah. How dare you interrupt me and all my...
So, I'm going to talk about link teams and special dice. So, link teams...
Darn you, those were also on my list. Yep, go ahead.
Well, so far, that's the only ones I think we've had overlap. So link teams, really not a lot's changed about how they're formed. Like there's still like a lot of people can have infinite duos, 2 Harrises, 1 core, right?
Right.
The typical like restrictions are pretty much the same. Some people have got them changed up. I'm not going to say that like blanket across the board that hasn't increased or decreased. There's also still like you have fire team bonuses, and they're based off of how quote unquote pure a fire team is. Like, and what we mean by pure is how many of the same unit is in the fire team. You get these bonuses. but the bonuses themselves have also changed pretty drastically. And one of the changes is called special dice, which I'll also go over. So like level 1, fire team members, the bonuses, fire team members activate using a single order. So in this game, you can have little groups of guys, up to 5, I think is the biggest fire team. And it's a way to be able to save your orders, your activations. You can spend 1 activation point to activate like 5 guys at once, and they can all like move around together. So that's the first level. The second level, which everybody gets that just base, no matter what kind of fire team you are. The second level, which is if you have 2+ guys that are the same trooper, you get a BS attack +1 special dice. The best way for me to explain, because special dice is new, the best way for me to explain what special dice is it's like advantage in D&D. So if you're any of you guys listening, have ever played D&D, it's not exactly at 1-for-1, but it's you get to roll an extra dice in your attack, but you have to remove 1. So if I have a combi rifle that shoots 3 dice, I get to roll 4 dice and I drop 1. Typically it's your worst dice
there because you want the lowest one.
Yeah, right. You drop your worst dice. You do not. So you'll never actually be able to do 4 hits and do 4 wounds, but it's increasing your odds of making your 3 hits you have better. And so it used to be that you could. It was just a raw +1 dice, and it was broken.
Right. No. Yeah. I was about to say. There goes all my little plays with my missile launcher running around shooting 2 dice. Being
But it's still good in ARO because the 2 dice in ARO, even though you're dropping 1, is still pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's just not offensive. Yeah, for sure. Because there was that. Was it the Boig that was like burst 2 missile launcher, and then you could put it in a Harris, and it was burst 3 missile launcher? Like, why do we need this in the game? What the hell? Why not? And to be fair, that guy is still cracked. Like being a burst 2 special dice missile launcher, if he's in the game still, like that's still really, really good. Like
that's a good question.
Like all you need is 1 missile launcher to hit, and then it's over. Like they just die. I'm pretty sure he's still in there, but he may not have because Winter Force is still around.
Yeah, Winter Force is still around.
Stuff. Boigs. He is. Yep, BS attack +1 burst. And he's got a missile launcher still. So oh boy. He's also albedo, which changed as well. But let's see what. So the other fire team bonuses are, it's move together +1 special dice. Now you get +3 to discover and dodge, a +1 to dodge at level 3. You get +1 of your ballistic skill level 4, and you get 6th Sense at level 5, which 6th Sense has also changed too. It's not like full reactions back at everybody. It's just no penalties for like dodging and stuff like that.
What is it? 6th Sense, and then what's the other thing that came out that like kind of separated with it? I'm trying to remember.
Well, you don't get as much ballistic skill bonus either.
Yeah. There's a new skill that came out.
The runaway smoke trick thing. What is that called? Oh shit, what is it called? Somebody used it on me today. It's like, it's got the goofiest name. What the heck is it called? Hang on, I can find out what it is. I know who had it. It was.
Technical difficulties. Wait one
Bang Bomb.
Bang Bomb.
Bang Bomb. It's apparently like this. Like, what is that name? First of all, so Bang Bomb. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up real quick and read it to the people here.
The thing I was thinking of, I will say right now, is Combat Instinct.
Oh, okay.
Since 6th Sense is losing part of its ability, now it has there's Combat Instinct, where it just allows the user to ignore surprise attack mods.
Okay, gotcha. Well, also, I thought you were talking about Bang Bomb, which is like somebody can dodge, like they can dodge, and apply this mod to their dodge roll, and then it's just like it's so weird.
Ninja vanish.
So right, that's exactly what it is. And so like Saito Togan has it, and he dodges on a +4 because he has Bang Bomb +4. It's like, what is this? Yeah, it's so weird.
That's fair. So going over the Link teams or the fire teams, where it is kind of like how it changes. I think it's weird. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you were talking about your fire team. Whenever it was like a core, you'd get a bonus for them being a core, but then you'd also get a bonus if they all had the same. Like if you had 3 Fusiliers out of there.
Yeah, so
now it's just all one.
You could no, so it's still levels like that. So like you didn't increase your level. You don't increase your level unless you have each level basically represents somebody of the same type of unit.
Gotcha.
So the only way to get the level 5 bonus is if all 5 guys in the Link team count as the same unit. So if I wanted to build a Link team of Genbu, hey, who's actually a not character here? Hang on. So if I wanted to build a Link team of, holy moly, what is a good example here? Oh yeah, I'm looking at vanilla. That's why. And there's hardly any Link team options. So okay, so like a Jazamurai, if I wanted to have a level 5 Jazamurai Link team, all 5 guys in the Link would have to be Jazamurais.
Right. So for you to get the level, and I understand that. I thought it used to be an N4 though, broken out into 2 different sub things. It was like one for how many models you had, and
and that's gone now.
Yeah,
I
it's
know
all combined into one.
Yeah. It used to be if you were just this many people, you got a buff. But if you were also this many people here, you got another buff. I see what you're saying now. Yeah, it's just all one.
All one. Yeah.
And which is
that's
cleaner.
That's unique and cleaner. Yes, I agree.
I like cleaner rules. Anytime this game gets cleaner rules without taking away tactical depth, it's a big bonus because that's one of the things about the game that's a struggle. Is that it is a bit of a crunchy, hard to learn game. So real quick, let's go over just a couple more, and then we've got a couple of other talking points to go over as well. So did you what were the next 2 you had? There's so many, for the record.
So,
this is why we didn't want to go over the whole rule book.
Right. There is a lot,
and they're all cool.
I never knew this was a thing. I don't know if it's new. I would say, but this deployable cover, the Virtua Ferro.
Hell yeah!
Where this thing
deployable covers.
Yeah, yes. This thing is no longer like going to give you the -3 to be hit penalty, but gives you a +6 to be saved. As like the big thing.
What's the deployable cover that you are talking about?
I'm talking about the one that's the VF, the Virtua Ferro.
Okay, so that's a specific one. There's also, though, I believe there's just like deployable cover like raw. And like Dr. Worm has this, and it's just like it's a silhouette 3-piece of terrain that you can just put down. And so and it gives you cover, it blocks line of sight, you're -3 to hit, all of that.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's 2 different ones. There's like deployable cover cutting foam, and then deployable cover Virtua Ferro. Cutting foam just says, the enemy can't benefit from it. Virtua Ferro, though, is the huge one because it says troopers who claim that partial cover don't get the -3 BS mod to their attacker's BS attack, so you still get a full, you're going to hit me on whatever, but instead of a +3 on the saving roll, I changed it to a +6.
That's awesome.
So situationally, I could be like, hey, you're going to hit me no matter what,
but I don't care.
I'd rather have the +6 to save.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
wait, deployable cover. I'm trying to find that. Okay, so yeah, deployable cover. I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to catch up. Okay, so yeah, there are 2 variants of deployable cover. Okay, yeah, so when you deploy, whenever the player deploys the deployable cover, allows partial cover rule to be applied. Deployable scenery element must be removed from the game trouble. Successful attacker deactivator hits it. There are 2 variants, each its own features. The player must indicate which one they're using whenever you have blah blah blah. Enemy troopers cannot claim partial cover in this type of cover. So yeah, so you could have it literally just be silhouette 3 cover, like just regular cover, or like you said, it could be the Virtua Ferro, which is it gets to be just extra armor. So that is kind of cool. I didn't actually know that. I didn't realize there was 2 layers. Dr. Worm has that. Dr. Worm just gets to deploy cover. and it's
See,
awesome
that's
because he's
awesome.
silhouette 3, so it's as big as he is, so he can just like boop.
Right
It's
here in
pretty
front of me,
cool.
wall.
Right, and that's what I do with him. I usually do it to like because he's 6'4" movement. What I've been doing with it is like going out, deploying it at like the very tip of my base somewhere, and then using it to cautious move. Because it
Oh,
adds
nice.
like because it adds like basically 2 inches of movement that I can't be seen because I'm moving around it now. It's so cool. It's so cool. Okay, so deployable cover. All right, what was another one you had?
I really think that was it. Let me look. Special die, we already covered. Natural Born Warrior and close combat changes, I don't really feel like need to be really explained.
Yeah,
Natural
they're
Born
not
Warrior just gets rid of the negative.
right.
Not
Yeah.
huge. I think that's it.
So
Yeah.
I'll do one more then, and it kind of goes into the same thing as deployable cover. There's also deployable turret,
Yes, I did read that.
which is so insane. I don't want to get too deep into that because apparently, like, it's probably the most controversial
Change out
equipment.
there.
Yes, people are very upset about it because I don't see it being a big deal, but I also don't want to rock anybody's boat. I haven't played any tournaments yet, so maybe I'm wrong. But even locally, the whole community we have is kind of like, yeah, that's technically broken, rules is written, but like, who's going to do that? What it is deployable cover and deployable, like armed turrets is what they call them, are disposable one, so you can put one down, and then you're done, right? You should only be able to put one down a game per guy who has it. Well, baggage bots let you, for a short skill, restock
Refill. Yeah.
any disposable weapons you have, any disposable anything you have. So people are like out there, and they're like, man, it's so bad, it's so negative because people are running around and putting down 5 or 6 turrets and a turn, and they're having this baggage bot and this guy with a deployable turret running around the board together. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, okay, first of all, they can be blown up. They don't generate you an order, and they can be blown up. It just makes your ARO way better. Like they're really cool. I like them, but also you're spending a whole freaking turn probably to do that.
Right, it's
And
a
you didn't
3-turn
do
game, and you're just like,
right.
hey, I'm just gonna be.
Yes, you better have a great turn 2 and 3 because, and also that doesn't stop you from getting alpha strike. What if I go first and just waylay your list that you built to do that, and now your list sucks? Like that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But I like them. I think they're cool because Dr. Worm also gets armed turrets.
Okay. Non-biased, guys. Non-biased.
So he can have an armed turret combi rifle and an armed turret marksman rifle, which is really cool. And so what they are is the armed turret is a deployable weapon, reacting with a BS attack or a CC attack to any order declared by an active enemy model. It has the BS attacks in the profile, has its own profile, and it is a BS 10 360 visor total reaction. So for me, it's kind of like, that's just really cool because I can have Dr. Worm move up, get in position somewhere, and this keeps him safe because he can go, hey, I'm trying to fix this guy. I'm going to deploy my turret behind me and go prone while I fix this guy. And anybody who tries to come around the corner gets lit up by a marksman rifle or a combi rifle. And that's just nice to have. I think that's just cool to have. Like, and it makes sense. I love the idea that they have deployable cover and deployable turrets in the game now. I think that's really exciting.
Right.
So no, I think that's neat.
I mean, understand too, this thing's a BS10. Like, it's not something great.
Well, and the thing about it too is like, I think I understand people's like conceptually, yes, that's not very fun. It's a negative play experience to deal with like, here's 5 here's 5 turrets that are going to throw 15 dice at you. And even though they're BS 10, who cares? I have a really good chance I'll just crit and
kill you.
Oh, and here's the other thing too. You can only attack one of them. Even if you're an HMG, you can only put 1 dice into 4 of them. Well, if the 5th one sees you, you're just getting 3 dice to the mouth on my BS 10 turret. I get how that could be frustrating, and that sounds conceptually like bullshit. But I don't think it's that good. I think it's nice to have. I don't think it's broken, but I don't know. So, John, we've talked enough about the changes. I'm glad that I was worried this episode was going to be short because we were getting into the changes. That bullet point got quick. So
yeah. No,
we filled
that's
that
fair.
time up well. So the next questions are, we do this with almost all the games we talk about, at least the first time we talk about them, is why would you suggest someone to play this game? And then after, we'll have, why would you suggest someone not to play this game? So
Okay.
John, let's start though first. Why would you suggest someone to play this game?
I mean, besides it's low cost. Cost is always a huge plus for me.
We haven't talked about
And
cost yet, and that is a good one.
So cost is a big thing. The rules are online and free, and it's always like they change them, so you're not having to go out and spend. Sorry to throw out, but $60 to buy a freaking codex
Right.
every couple of months.
Updates a lot. Get them as soon as they're out.
Fast pace, 3 rounds. So there's another thing, and then
2.5
the biggest
hour
thing
game.
is it's fun to it might be kind of you're stumbling here and there. I mean, even me, I'm still stumbling with the rules, but once you get it down, it's one of those games that's hard to master, but is always fun to play. Like every scenario is going to be different. You're going to set this up. Each mission's different with different secondaries, and the person you're going to play is going to play differently each time, and it's just so much fun to see how it plays out. You do those face-to-face rolls, and you might critically hit and kill somebody that they thought was in their number one guy. Or if you're playing combined army or something bullshit like that, and you go over and you steal half the person's army and turn them to your side.
Man, I have a brainwashed cannon, okay? For those that don't know, somebody's a little upset about the fact that I have a brainwashed cannon, but that's not my fault.
Yeah. But it's just so much fun each time you play. I mean, you can't get enough out of this game for what it is.
Yeah, I agree. That's cool, man. For me,
what about you?
I think I'm with you. It's a very dynamic, quick paced game. I want to touch on the cost thing just like quickly. I don't want to repeat too much because I agree with everything you just said. But like we had a guy come in today who was like, "What is this game?" And we were all like, "Hey, it's we were playing on our Sunday play group and we were like, "Hey man, this is it." And he's like, "Okay, well I was looking at getting a 40K. I have a bunch of armies for that already. What's the community like for that?" And we helped him out with 40K too in Age of Sigmar. But he's like, "Man, I kind of want to play this game though too. Like, how expensive does it get in?" And somebody was like, "You can buy a 10 model army for $80."
Right.
Like $80 and you can start playing this
game.
Go
get that
like
starter pack and you're good to start.
And if you don't want to jump in that much, there's like $60 7 or 6 man kits as well. Like there's a lot of really affordable jumping off points for this game. It's a very affordable game. Right. So the reasons outside of the ones that John said, like fast paced, dynamic gameplay, the whole like the dice roll thing.
It all. He has nothing, guys.
Fuck off. we didn't really also talk about the dice rolls. I'm going to touch on that briefly too. But like we mentioned, you had to roll low. But if you're both attacking each other, you can cancel each other's dice out. So it's the highest passing roll. So if my sniper's shooting you and it needs a 12, and you're shooting your HMG and me and you need a 9, and you rolled an 8 and I rolled a 7, well, we both passed. But anything that you beat or anything that you have underneath your dice, so the 8, knocks out everything below it. Right. So if I got a 3, 4, 5, and a 6, but you rolled an 8, my 3, 4, 5, and a 6 are all gone. They don't count. Your 8 beats them, and then I end up taking a save. So that's kind of watch some playthroughs. Play on Tabletop did a playthrough series on this, and it's actually pretty good. It's got good quality video. They always do great videos. But outside of all that, it is one of the coolest pop culture ripoff IPs in the game in the world. They steal. I'm not saying this to sound rude. I love Corvus Belli, and they know what they're doing. They steal inspiration from so much. Movies, books, animes, mangas. Yeah. They have Achilles in this game. This is all set historically. It's a sci-fi game set 250 years like in the future. And the Covenant from Halo, which is the combined army, is they look like brutes and they look like elites. They look like Halo.
Oh man, I'm trying to remember which one they were in, but there's like this one and it's like she's got the ponytails with the hammer, and I'm like,
oh, how does that look like? That's Harley Quinn.
Why does that look like Harley Quinn?
And then she's got Killer Croc and like Joker in the same kit, and they have like so this sci-fi game. They have recreations of ancient like they've managed to like find DNA of people from history and recreate them. So you have Joan of Arc in power armor, Sun Tzu in power armor.
Dude, I love
and
Joan of Arc.
They have Achilles, and they literally sculpted the Achilles to look like Brad Pitt. So they rip crap off. They have a whole nomad squad that looks like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, and they just paint them different, and it looks so cool. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm about it.
That is a good one.
It is such a cool, dynamic pop culture stew. It is, if you like Cyberpunk, the video game, this is Cyberpunk, the war game, basically. Like, it's just it's such a great game for its just aesthetic and appearance and gameplay. It's so good.
It really is. So, S tier, guys. S tier game.
Dude, I know. It is our S tier game, and it's gonna stay S tier.
It's gonna stay S tier.
But John, why would you suggest someone not to play this game? Be totally objective.
I'm going to. So this game is definitely for somebody who wants the simplistic rules. You know, if you are looking for something that has simplistic rules that don't have that many rules, so it doesn't get a little hard to remember everything, this is not for you.
Yeah,
like this is in depth. You have to know these things. MSV, Natural Warrior, you know, blah 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 blah. Everything we've been talking about, all this depth. But once you get it, it's great. But getting into it, definitely hard, a struggle.
Yeah,
and can you know be a kind of a lot of a gotcha moments at first. But then once you get it, you're like, hey, I got this. Yeah, it doesn't become any more surprising anymore because it's all universal, like we pointed out earlier.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that totally. And was there anything else to add before I comment?
Not really. No, I think that's really just the big thing is getting all those rules down, and
it's going to take like half a dozen games or more for you to really get a grip on what you're trying to do.
And playing against different factions. Like, I think the first time I fought against somebody who had Eclipse grenades and everything, I was just like, oh man, how do I deal with this?
Right. Yeah, it's gonna take like there's a lot of like little tactics and tricks. Like there's a thing called smoke trick, which is where you throw a smoke grenade in front of your guy with multi-spectral visor 2 or 3, and he can see through the smoke, but your opponent can't. So now you can just shoot your opponent for free. They get to react at a -6 on top of all of their mods. And it's like the first time that ever happens to you, you're gonna be like, this game's bullshit. Like you're like, I hate this game. What is this? Yeah,
that's fair.
So like, it takes some time to get used to. And I think it's important to have a good play group. Like I played against 2 guys that are newer. Like I played against Hunter today, who he's been in a tournament, but he's still pretty new. And he's also just now playing JSA. It's a new faction for him. And I played against Josh Cook, who played years ago, but he's trying to get back into it. And so they're both pretty green. And so it was like a demo game of sorts, but like it's so important to play against people who are understanding that you're trying to learn. Because I beat him, but I didn't care about winning. What I cared about was like, okay, I have a speculo killer. It's this impersonator. This is what it's gonna do. Let's talk out why you shouldn't deploy this way. Why should you do this? Why should you do that? And so he's like learning, and he's like, man, I lost turn 1, but he told me this. He's like, I lost turn 1, but I would rather have lost turn 1 than spent 3 hours playing 3 rounds to have learned the same thing. He's like, you showed me we took our time turn 1 to show how like I would like dissect his list. And now he's like, oh, next time I go forward, I'm never going to deploy like this again. I'm never going to bring this unit in this way again. And he's like, I learned so much. You need to find people that'll help you with that.
Yes, this is definitely a game where positions and rules are huge. Like, because your people only have that 180-degree vision unless they have 360
that's
vision.
Something that's unique about this game too. Yeah, is you have a 180-degree vision. You can't see behind you.
Right. So knowing how you want to position your people, make a defensive line, understanding like there's parachutists that could come in, there's people who could come in behind the enemy line, behind your deployment.
Yeah.
Like understanding all these little nuances of what you're going to be facing depending on what you're playing is what you're going to just learn. And like you said, it's going to take time. So
and so I would add all that to say I agree. Oh, were you sorry? You didn't say
go ahead.
All right. Oh, well, my bad, John.
I was listening intently.
You got too intense for me. I couldn't tell. I was like, oh man, John's looking at me with some love in his eyes. So I I would agree. I don't ever suggest this as somebody's first game. Like, if you've never played war games ever, I don't really recommend this being your first war game.
Yeah, it could be overpowering.
Oh yeah, overwhelming and like
Overwhelming, overpowering, like
overpowering. I'm
whatever.
being overpowered by this game.
That's right. It's destroying me.
Cool. I've bought 8 armies in the last month. Now that being said, I want to caveat this with something. So the best war game, in my opinion, to tell somebody how to play is actually Kill Team.
Yes.
Because I think Kill Team has a small enough buy-in. It's very simple. It's cool. It teaches you how to build models. You didn't mention metal models once, John, and I'm proud of you for that.
I've tried not to.
I'm proud of you for that.
Really held back there.
But the caveat here is, I think I'm starting to say that less. The whole, like, you shouldn't have Infinity be your first game. Because what I've come to find out is that the genre, the boiling pot of the melding pot of genres that it is, the cool models, the badass gameplay, the terrain. This game uses terrain more than any other game, and it looks badass. You're playing Ghost in the Shell. You're running through Blade Runner alleyways, shooting at people. People who want to play this game, it's never been easier to learn than it is right now. This is the best rule set it's ever had. It's the easiest rule set it's ever had. And I start to look at games like Warhammer 40,000. Warhammer 40,000 used to be the gateway war game. Everybody started playing Warhammer 40,000. I think it's just as hard to teach somebody Warhammer 40K right now as it is Infinity.
Probably, yeah.
Because
I could see that.
There's so many obscure rules interactions in 40K. There's way more gotchas in 40K, because if I've never played against your army, I have no clue what it does. I have to go buy your codex to learn your army. I'm not doing that. So I have to play against your army once, twice, 3 times and lose to it before I have any idea of what's going on. And I'm not dogging 40K. We're starting a 40K combat league.
I love 40K.
I love 40K.
It's just as hard. Like you're right. It is just as hard. Like this is, and it's a 4-hour game. Like
and it's a bigger cost.
And it's a bigger cost. I mean, it's almost like 5 times the amount of money you'd have to spend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'd rather get 2 small games in and learn faster and keep playing somebody than just get 1 game in and be like, okay, what can I do better? But 40K of course just has its lore. This has its lore.
I still think Kill Team is the best miniature war game for people to start with. I just don't think it's hard to beat. It's such a low buy-in. It's very simple.
$60 buy-in for
some
an army, something like that.
Yeah, who cares? And so I still think it is. But where I'm looking at it is like, we've got a lot of people that play Kill Team, and they love Kill Team. But they don't really want to do 40K. And I'm like, okay, start with Kill Team, then move to Infinity. Because Infinity is just Kill Team Plus in the way that the game is played. It's a similar skirmish, small-scale, tight, tactical game, but it has way more list building, way more better tactical rules, better tactical decision-making, and so it's like, it's more rewarding, the gameplay as well. And so it's like, if you have the difficulty level is up here, Kill Team is here, and then it just goes 40K Infinity. Do you want to play a army game? Do you want to keep playing a skirmish game? Right? They're both just as hard as the other.
No, so, I could see that. Yeah, I agree with you. That is. I think
that's where I'm at with it. And I don't think anybody's going to be the only real pro that 40K has in that scenario is that your Kill Team models can be used in 40K.
Right.
But if you're worried about spending $60 and losing that $60, and that's why you don't want to play in. That's sure. But if you're mad about I don't like that Infinity won't let me use my $60 investment. You're going to spend more money getting into 40K than that $60 you will lose buying into Infinity.
I will say this, the thing about Infinity, we were talking about models a little bit earlier. Those N2 and N3 models that, I got for Pano, some of, a lot of them I still get to use. And they're old. And I mean so the value of my model not getting refreshed and I get to use the same one, and and they're coming out with new stuff is great. I don't have to worry about the turnaround, so I don't have to go
Your
spend.
model's never going to be obsolete.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So the value-wise of how much I can get out of that model is huge.
For sure. Well, dude, I think I love how we were like, why shouldn't you play this game? And we were like, this is why you shouldn't. But also, this is why you should.
It's our S tier game, so this is definitely why you should, guys.
This is why you should. Be sure, for real, go watch our tier ranking video. If you want to know our real, if any of that tier ranking stuff ever drastically changes, we'll redo the tier list video. But until we redo it, that's generally where we stand on all of the games right now. We'll probably do it. We might want to do it like biannually. Because I know Adepticon, there's a bunch of big changes that come out, and then also Gen Con, a bunch of big changes happen. So maybe if we did like a summer and then a winter tier list video, let us know in the comments, guys, if that's something you want to do. But I think we might do that, because if a big rules update happens, like Warcrow, for example, Warcrow was not ranked very high for us.
Right.
But if Warcrow gets a ton of love at Adepticon, by the time July gets here, June or July gets here, we'll know, oh, cool, the changes they made actually made the game way better. Let's do another tier list video.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because if it happened to Warcrow, it could also happen to Shatterpoint, MCP, Warcrow, a bunch of games get updates at Adepticon. And they also get a bunch of updates at Gen Con. I mean, if we look at it, right, since Gen Con, we've had Infinity in 5, Middle of Strategy Battle Game, Bolt Action 3, Halo Flashpoint. The month right before Gen Con was AOS 4. We've had a ton of games come out since Gen Con.
Did you see Star Wars got updated?
Star Wars got updated too. Yeah,
so don't forget to throw that one out there.
So at the very least, we'll probably do one of these every year after Gen Con, because there's so many updates that come out. And tier lists are just fun. So
yeah, they're definitely fun.
But this is our S tier game. It's not moving anytime soon.
No, guys. It's maybe the day that gets played, but that's no, I'm just kidding. No. It's on Sundays for us in our local community. So
is that bad for you, John?
It is sometimes. I am working on trying to come out on Sundays, though.
Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, I have this whole house that you're welcome to come play games in. Just
I know.
Out there. But
no.
All right.
John, thanks for listening, guys.
Any last words on Infinity?
No, I'm good. Infinity's amazing.
I'm done talking about it now.
Yeah.
Get it out of my face.
Pano's the best.
Pano. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, thanks for listening in. We'll have another episode to you guys soon. See you around.
See ya.